Hello, welcome to Magic with Melly. So we are all magical. Just a reminder that we can all access magic. It's just a unique thing within everyone, and everyone will be using it differently, for themselves and for like magic as a practice. You could take different elements and strengthen in that regard. This message is about obsessions. You may be dealing with someone who has obsessions, or you may be someone who is obsessive. Whether or not you know this, you'll know, okay? Whether you're on the obvious side or the oblivious side. It's like kind of tapping into curiosity with what obsession really even means for you in your life. I think obsession can have positive and negative repercussions. It just depends on who's dealing with it, how much of it there is, and perhaps exactly what you are obsessed with. I'm going to try and be as gentle as possible for my collective because I do see this 10 of Swords. I think this energy is just really overwhelming if we don't have an understanding of it or a hold of, like maybe some more control over it. Behind it, we have Knight of Swords, and we're seeing Empress wants to show. So it's this getting in forward and fast movement as far as like what exactly is obsession I'm tackling, and how can I make this more beneficial to me rather than an adverse or like a negative effect. We do have a 7 of Wands, so it's like this resistance to even accept that there is obsession in your energy or in your space. Like sometimes it could be just really obvious and you could be in denial of it, or you're oblivious and kind of willing to accept the situation, but you need to kind of understand the situation more. It could be one or the other, or something in the middle that I didn't explain. Definitely we're gonna get down to the bottom of how to stop shaming ourselves, hating ourselves for anything that makes us different, because being obsessed with something, it could just be that you are different and that thing is different and you guys are different but the same. Like it's one of those things where it could be that perfect match, or this like, or there's something within the energy or the thing that you're obsessed with that you are lacking or that you are wanting more of. Again, it could be maybe spirit highlighting that you're focusing so much on it for a reason, okay? I think we're trying to get down to the bottom of like the reasonings for your obsession or somebody else's obsession. Now, if we're talking about someone else's obsession, you either are very aware of it because you're seeing them pop up on social media, you're seeing them like, you're seeing behaviors that reflect their obsession. On the other hand, maybe like and that's where like it may be obvious if it's someone else's obsession, maybe towards you. They could be oblivious, or you could be oblivious and it's obvious to them, but you're oblivious to them because it's being intentionally hidden. Maybe there's secret profiles, anonymous kind of viewing happening there. It could be you doing anonymous viewing towards somebody else. It doesn't have to, or it could be both, right? You could be experiencing it and then you're also in this energy, or only one side of the party's in the energy. But we're talking about obsession altogether. Everyone in the collective is going through something different, but also something similar That's why you guys are all brought to being clicked on the same video, and the messages are going to they're going to apply according to you. And so hopefully I cover everything. I have Sage going. It's still going, but we are for sure just clearing out some of this. This is like being obsessed is maybe extra energy. Like, what are we doing with this extra energy then? Because extra energy is not a bad thing. The only thing about this being a bad thing is maybe the context and the exact thing that is being focused on, and just the specific details surrounding it will entail whether it's a positive or negative context for you. We have the High Priestess, so it's like, how do we kind of confidently get ourselves, like, how do I want to read this Seven of Swords? It's like the Seven of Swords is giving knowing what you can handle and what you can't handle. It's this leaving behind this is giving like abundance, right? Like, this is a whole campground, it looks, and this individual is leaving only with, it looks like, the clothes on his back and weaponry, right? Enough to protect himself, enough for him to be able to be on his journey. And so it's like, with this obsession, we're essentially trying to see what we need and what we don't need, and kind of working with that, maybe even transmuting, because the High Priestess is someone who is intuitive, knows secrets. They know what to do with the information that they have. And it's like, right now we kind of are like inquiring why, like, what's the root of it? Like, when you can get to the root, like the very, very source of a situation, and understand it, then it can flow, or it can be resolved, or however that may be resonating for you. But we have this setup I'm telling you, I've had the setup up for days, but I definitely am noticing divine timing worked on me with this session. I've been telling myself to do this reading for over a week, and finally now I'm doing the reading. I think it's just one of those things that, as events unfold, it's this my personal understanding and learning from my experience, and then bringing it here. And that's what's so magical about sharing space, is that as much as I can learn, as you guys can learn from me, I can learn from you guys. And it's always going to be, it can even be, within the collective, you guys can be connecting with one another as well on similar energies. You may not be going through the exact same thing, but at least the energy resonates, and maybe there is a missing piece from me to you, or you to another person in the collective, or it helps you in your daily life, where you can bring what you have found here into, like, you can bring the magic that you found within yourself and with me, and bring it into your daily life, and kind of unfold what needs to be unfolded. Sometimes it takes one step, it's like one foot before the other. So it's like, you can't double, like, you can't like right foot and then right foot, like your leg's not going to double extend. Your left leg needs to come forward, and then your right leg, and then your left leg, and then your right leg. So it's one of those pacing things. And so I'm so grateful that we're now here with this YouTube reading, understanding one another, understanding ourselves first and foremost, and really taking ourselves to new levels and new understandings. And this whole message with obsession it's just been developing over the week, as far as I think many people in my collective that are resonating with just having a social media presence. And naturally, with having a social media presence, a lot of people have eyes on you, and you can't really assess fully, like there are reasons why for following you other than you attracted them, whether it was a good or negative context. That is individual, right? Like that is between you and the other person and the connection, and like whoever is in your following. You know how they feel when you see their name pop up or when you interact with them. I think this is maybe just something that here on YouTube in this reading you needed a reminder of, like to maybe be in practice of noticing how someone feels when they are mentioned, when they pop up on your screen. Just having, if their energy is on you, like you're just definitely noticing it. And you're kind of noticing people who are maybe more possessive or obsessive or even more consistent versus others. You're just noticing, right? You're noticing, and it's, some of you are shifting from being oblivious to things are more obvious. And sometimes I think for a few of the collective, it's like maybe you need to tone down some of the energy from being as obvious to being like a little bit more obscure. Because it's like sometimes focusing, it's just in general, focusing too much on another person is very harmful to mental health. Because like it's like if you're focusing on another person, then what does that mean? Your focus is not on yourself, right? And a long period of doing this becomes neglect, and then it becomes like a much more serious problem. Because obsession can be very lighthearted, it could be very fun and enjoyable, especially because like you're focusing on it because you're finding something of value to you. Whether the value is like, whatever the value is going to be different, but it's like the value could be that someone's viewing a role model or a mentor, they're following footsteps, they're like obsessed with like how are they doing it because I want to be able to do it too. But then there's another thing of it that's like, how are they doing it because they're very upset that you're doing something and they're not, right? Like there is like a very thin line between just crossing that of like someone who wants to be like you, and then someone who wants to be you, and then someone who wants to be with you. There's a various energy there and various reasons why someone would, right? And so if I said a phrase, right, and you instantly thought of somebody, that is your intuition being jogged here. Because I'm channeling phrases, synchronicities, like I'm channeling, using the cards as a tool to validate you. I'm using the cards as a tool to validate what I'm picking up energetically, because energy is not the easiest to describe sometimes, and difficult situations of course are very, very difficult to describe because they're already difficult, and then putting words to it, words are already difficult. So definitely if there's like a phrase or something that reminds you of something or somebody or anything like that, it's your intuition being placed there to sort of make more use of the information, or like to kind of bring the information forward and saying, like your spirit is saying, yes, this situation is related to what she's saying, right? It's like one of those things of like a trigger, right? Sometimes you do need the trigger or the experience to happen for you to take an action or etc. Just as I was saying, like the right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, it's like one step at a time. You guys could be taking it one day at a time. You could be dealing with it as like one person at a time. And you could take that one person at a time however you want to. It could be clients, it could be dating, it could be helping people, it could just be like, it could be a various of things. But what's out here, what you've been staring at all this time that I've been rambling on, is we have pre-shuffled oracles. We have 3 live shuffle decks, 2 tarot, 1 playing card, and then this is an oracle. I'm also going to live shuffle, so 4 live shuffle decks. 2 of them are tarot, 1's a playing card, 1's oracle. So that's kind of what's here, in case you guys were wondering. I know some people may enjoy the breakdown of how the reading will go. Some people are just like, just give me the messages, or like just shuffle the cards. But whatever wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I hope that you are well. And if you're not well, I'm very sorry about that. I hope this message helps. My intentions are for everyone to just be able to keep going and just mostly to believe in themselves and believe that they could get through anything and everything as long as they are, like you find that comfort and that companionship with yourself. You're always able to pull through. And so let's get into it. Let's talk about obsession, because that's why y'all are here. You guys all want to know who's obsessed with you, or what to do about your obsessions, or what to do about someone being obsessed with you and how to handle that. There's all sorts of wild things here, because I definitely didn't think this reading when I set it up was going to be about obsession, but now that I kind of went through the week, I realized why the message had to be what it is, because this energy can be very harmful. It can be very harmful. But it's this Empress. Your life is what you make it. So it's like, focus your obsessions on good things. Or make sure that if someone's going to be obsessed with you, that you're showing them, you're giving them a good show, right? That you're showing them a good time, and in a safe way, of course. But yeah. Okay, let's see what's the back of the deck now is the 8 of Swords. But now we see Temperance. So it's like just being more gentle and caring in this space for anyone who is dealing with this energy, because like if it's overwhelming for you, it's probably overwhelming for the person who is on the other end, right? Like if you have the obsession and then like you have friends and family that don't understand it, they like that harmful energy is like they don't understand you, and it hurts that they don't understand your obsession. It could even be like someone's obsessed with you and like they are intentionally doing harmful things. Like there's so many harmful ways that obsession can go wrong. But just like with this 8 of Swords though, it's like you guys are feeling stuck in your obsession, because like once you're obsessed with something, you're kind of like really deep in it and you don't know how to pull yourself out. Someone's obsession could be repeatedly getting you stuck. Just interesting energy here. But we have now 9 of Cups, Temperance, and Ace of Wands. So mastering the art of obsession, I guess. I don't know how to word this, like what I'm trying to get at here, because it's like this 9 of Cups is like using like maybe non-conventional things as a tool. And what I mean by non-conventional things, that would be like empaths, intuitives, high priestess. Okay, like you guys are a high priestess energy here, right? And so it's like using, when I say non-conventional tools, is like using your intuition to tell yourself about somebody. Like it's like it feels impossible to know what someone's doing behind the scenes, but intuitively you can pick up at least a little bit of energy, and from that you can make a decision, and from that you could be like, okay, this person doesn't understand me, or this person does understand me, this person is resonating with me, this person, like, so it's like this, using that as your tool to kind of stop letting people make you feel bad about having like enjoyment in your obsessions. Okay, because like you're going to continue doing that thing because you're finding like I was saying, you're finding value in it, whether it's a good value or negative value. Like your heart's context may not recognize, like at first, like it's like your heart and mind are in conflict, right? Your mind's telling you stop being obsessed with this thing. Your heart's like, but I love it. And it's like, maybe it's like your thoughts in your head are other people's thoughts telling you, like, from their perspective of not understanding. I'm getting like OCD, and I did receive a message about like just special people, anybody who's handicapped, OCD, ADHD, autistic, like just special individuals that have they're just special individuals. Like, there is unique things that make them different, and then it makes how they approach anything different. And so with obsessions, you could be resonating with OCD, but you don't have to have OCD to have an obsession with something, or to have an interest or hobby, or like constantly, because I think maybe obsession, even in this reading, could be overused, over applied, that some people don't really know what an obsession really is, like, and they're kind of deeming someone who has an interest, like a consistent, healthy interest in something, and rather than just letting someone be alone, they like over dramatize it and say, oh, they're obsessed, and like they like make it a negative context when it's not really a negative context. And so maybe that's a message you guys need, as far as like where you're at, as far as how your head and how your heart's thinking. Your heart knows what it wants, and maybe it could be outside circumstances telling you not to want what your heart wants. And it's like, just let your heart want what it wants. You know, continue in your obsession if it's doing good things for you. Continue in your obsession if it's healthy and if it's bringing more into your life. People are going to have a negative context on something good because they are in, like, you know, some people outwardly speak just on where they are at, and maybe it has nothing, zero to do with you and your energy, other than, you know, you have and they are lacking. Or, you know, you could flip the roles if it applies like that. But that was all from the Giant Tarot before we even got started on everything else. So let's keep this Nine of Cups out, because that feels really good. We want to sort our stuff out and get everything we want and need. Ace of Wands. So let's get through it. You know, let's get through these obsessions. Let's see if there's any obsessions we need to let go of, any obsessions that we need to, you know, hang on to, any that we do know about and any we don't know about. We're going to just try and pull out everything we can. I feel like getting the Care Bears out first, so I'm going to do that. I also want to mention, I've been hung up on this reading as well, because I want to bring in a new series on this YouTube channel. And so I'm really excited to bring it. I'm just not sure how. And I've also been bringing my work, segmenting my work onto TikTok. I've been on TikTok for nearly a year, but my work on there is finally feeling like in its right placements. And so it's really interesting. It's synchronistic here, but I've been like obsessed with making mini TikTok readings. Like, I made 3 of them yesterday, and I was like, well, I don't want to burn out, so I'm gonna tell myself to stop. But I'm like literally obsessed with making TikToks, and I spent today like, no, get yourself on YouTube, take a break from TikTok. You took a long enough break from YouTube, and that's like balance, right? It's a synchronistic thing. Maybe you need to learn something from my experience with that it's okay to take breaks from something, and while you're taking a break from that thing, you can go to something that's similar to it or not at all like it at all. For me, I channeled work into a different place of work. You know, I took a break from work to still work, but somewhere else, right? Like, instead of being on YouTube, I was on TikTok, and all sorts of energies like that. So just a reminder there that if you need a break from your obsession, you can safely be obsessed with something else, and no one's going to, well, if anyone's going to judge you, don't let them, right? This whole no one's going to judge you, that's up to you if you allow outside judgments in or not. Judgments are one of those things where someone's saying what you should or should not do with your life, and it's like, all right, cool, thank you for advice, but I don't have to take it. And so, yeah, this whole thing with judging, you be your own judge. You know, you judge, is this obsession healthy for me? Should I find a new obsession? Is this person who's, you know, like, is that in alignment with what I want? Do I want someone who's obsessed with me, or do I want someone who is like, who can like kind of chill out from me from time to time as well? Like, you know, we love someone who's obsessed and can give you a lot of love and attention and stuff like that, but we have to be careful about codependency there, because you could be obsessed with having someone around just because you need, like, that person just has a crazy need for a connection. But that was for only for people in the collective that have been actively healing codependency and actively healing that. These key terms, don't apply every key term to yourself. Don't be like a, what's the word? I want to say hydroponics, but I know that's not the right word. Hydroponics is like plants and water, the water irrigation system, and how they, like, the plants grow, like it's like no soil planting. So some of you may be interested in that, might be one of your obsessions, but what I'm saying is, like, don't be like that person that thinks that they have everything, you know, like that they're sick with everything. Don't be one of those people. I'm not sure why that word is escaping my mind right now. So just be careful of being one of those people. Not every, you know, this reading is for everyone who clicks on it. So just, if it's not for you, it's not for you. Just, but it's definitely here for somebody else. So just let it be, so everyone can heal and have the potential to heal as much as you have the potential to heal here. Don't be taking away from someone else's story. And especially don't be taking away from your story, of course. But let's see what's here for the highest good of the collective. Oh, Spirit has a lot to say. I'm only going to take the face up ones. So 3 of Pentacles. We have, oop, okay, I'll just take that like that then. The 2 of Spades, King of Hearts, 6 of Spades, Jack of Diamonds, Ace of Hearts, 8 of Clubs, 6 of Clubs, 3 of Clubs. Okay. Actually, before I start reading, I'm going to clarify with this deck. So let's, Spirit, for the highest good of the collective, please clarify this spread. We have the Lovers reverse, the Devil reverse, the Fool. Clarify more of this reading for the collective highest good, please, Spirit. Thank you. Thank you for helping me channel for the collective. Okay, we have the Chariot reverse. We have the 9 of Pentacles, the 8 of Pentacles. One more card for the collective then now, Spirit. Thank you. I'm hearing the words humbling, 8 of Cups as the back of the deck. I'm getting the words humbling experiences. Behind the 8 of Cups is the Sun, and we have the Star. Oop, okay, the Star reverse and Hierophant. The Hierophant, I wasn't going to pick up the Hierophant card, but it came up with the Star reverse, so I'm just going to let it be. This was all back of the deck energy, so let me get into it then. Okay, I'm getting someone's guard is up, or someone with the Lovers reverse, and then under this 2 of Spades is this energy of maybe extremes with boundaries. Because initially I said someone's guard is up and you see this Care Bear has a bat. So it's like this person just seemed really ready to home run, maybe go to home base is what I'm getting. Like, some of you could have dealt with a sexual situation or like a fling or like a situationship of some sort, because now it's like this King of Hearts is King of Cups, and this Devil reverse, it's this, maybe someone had a sex addiction or like addiction period with like, because I'm getting just addictions period. It doesn't have to be sexual, but specifically because we have the Lovers here, maybe a majority of you, the obsession is from someone or because of someone intimate or sexually connected there. And a sexual connection is not just any normal connection. Be very careful of the sex exchanges that you have, because those types of things are just harder to detach from. It's just so much easier to say goodbye to a friend, and then that versus like a friends with benefits, then versus like a boyfriend, then versus a husband or wife, or you know, like the scales go up with how much intimacy and sex and anything like that that's been shared. So I think that that could be where some of the obsession is stemming from, is that if someone made a decision to walk away, the obsession is like, why what are they doing now, what are they doing now? Like, it's like being obsessed with how are they living without me, especially because we have a Fool card and the 6 and the Chariot reverse. It's like someone starting over and then someone wants a second chance. So it's like this energy is misaligned, and that's why the Chariot's reverse is because someone wants this but someone else doesn't. Or it could be someone just doesn't want you to start your journey, period. Like they're like just obsessed with your journey, and that maybe they're on the same journey or they are on their own journey and are jealous of you being successful in your journey or the potential that you carry. Because 9 of Pentacles could be someone who has a lot of potential, but they need to put the work in. Do you get what I mean? And it's like someone may be obsessed with stopping you from working on this, from working on yourself, or like now the 9 of Swords is reflecting 9 of Pentacles versus the 9 of Swords, and the 8 of Pentacles in the middle. This is hard work. 8 of Pentacles is definitely hard work. So with the 9 of the 2 9s surrounding, it's like teetering between or choosing like the 9 of Pentacles energy or the 9 of Swords energy. Of course, you don't want this 9 of Swords energy, so you're always in your, you know, you're always kind of working back towards this 9 of Pentacles. If you want the 9 of Pentacles, you have to put in the work, and then Source will give you that divine opportunity, that blow up, going viral, that your business is popping off, like whatever it is, like someone wants it and then they don't want you to have it. Now that message doesn't have to apply to everybody, but it's like this energy really needed to be highlighted because there's 2 9s. And it's like, which energy do you want to be in? This energy or this energy? Of course you want to be in this energy. So Spirit's highlighting, put in the work. Remove distractions. Focus on, like, if your work is not an obsession of like a passion or whatever, like find something that is. Find something that works for you in this way, that is so big that no one, not even yourself, can get in your way. I struggled with this for a long time before I found tarot readings and my gifts with being psychic and empathic and all this energy, right? Is this like, I sort of put in the work, but only enough to get by. Like, my journey wasn't large enough to me. I was still in university. I had chosen to study a bachelor's degree, of which I just chose it out of safety, out of financial, like, I just felt like, you know, I needed to focus on financial security and no other, like, and the happiness would follow. But it's the other way around. You need to focus on your happiness, and then your financial security will follow. If some of you may be settling as far as what you are choosing here, because it's going to be work regardless, but at least make the work worth it to you, that you're going to keep going even when you're so beat down, like that, like you have nothing, and you're still going to do that thing. You're still going to pick yourself back up because it matters that much to you. That may be this thing with obsession, is maybe you're really oblivious to something that is this important to you. Maybe obsession is one of those things that you just never really understood, that it's just someone who's just really interested in something to the point where it may be deemed obsession. But it doesn't have to be, obsession doesn't have to have a negative context. It's just having a lot of focus or a lot of energy there. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with having a lot of energy and placing it, you know, placing it on something. If you have extra energy, it's got to go somewhere, so you're placing it on something. But like, is this energy good or bad? Are you jealous? Are you envious? Or are you inspired? Are you, you know, creative? How can you make the life that you're seeing, that you want, how do you make it your own? You know, how, instead of copying, like, how do you make it your own? And there's like really, just a really beautiful energy with just describing it and kind of unfolding it for you guys. I love this for you guys. I'm getting, with this cupcake, there's gifts on this card, balloons, more cupcakes, and this 4-leaf clover Care Bear. Excuse me. My throat chakra, I think I believe I'm just releasing a lot for you guys because I just burped. And I do truly believe that there's offerings and gifts and surprises, even celebrations coming in. This 8 of Pentacles is, because it has the 4-leaf clover Care Bear on there, I just really feel like you guys are resonating with, maybe things have felt unlucky so far. Maybe things have not felt very, like, financially safe. I'm getting like, you, maybe things have just been really rocky, and you feel, perhaps some of you maybe felt like you deserved how things were going. But I think this understanding with obsession is really going to take you to a different level. To even be worthy of obsession, like, if someone else is obsessed with you, you must be doing something strong enough to trigger their obsession. And so that is something, whether or not you're proud of that, I think you should. I think that it doesn't have to be that you're doing anything right per se, but you're doing something to draw attention to yourself. And okay, some of you are obsessed with having attention. All right, this could be abundantly toxic. If you are drawing on other people's attention, that, you know, if you're really obsessed with other people's attention, that is a telltale sign that there's a lack, a neglect of attention from yourself towards yourself. The obsession with having other people's attention is because you have not been paying close enough attention to yourself and your needs and wants, and therefore your expectation is not inwardly met, so you are obsessed with outwardly meeting it. And it doesn't only apply with obsession. It could be, you could apply the same terminology with, like, you know, like, you can apply different terminology to the same phrase and it may also still apply. It doesn't have to be obsession. It could be like, if you're really focused on love, whether or not someone loves you, you may not love yourself because you are questioning so much. So just this reminder, you are worthy of love. You are worthy of the good things that Spirit wants to give you. You are worthy of someone being obsessed with you. Like, you are worthy of that. If it's a bad context, like, just be careful. Make sure that you're being mindful of the information that you're sharing, especially those that are on a social media platform. Make sure that you have your settings appropriately placed to where, you know, it's friends only, or, you know, the differentiating between, do you want this message to be posted to the public? Do you want this message to be posted only to your friends? Do you want this message to be posted only to friends of friends? Do you want your page to be public? Do you want your page to be private? Do you want to block certain people who, if they have information, they would do something horrible or bad with it? Versus, like, you know, because someone being obsessed with you like I was saying, it could be dangerous, it could be bad. So if you are aware of somebody who's obsessed with you, make sure that is, you know, make sure you can tell the difference between whether it's good, bad. If it's good, make sure it's healthy. Of course, if it's bad, of course that's unhealthy, but like, you may have to tiptoe a little bit or just be more clear or communicative, because I had back to this lovers and the romantic, the intimate, the sexual connection. I had someone who then became very obsessed with me and came to my house and attacked my car and, like, really stupid shit like that. And that's because I was on good terms with them. They were obsessed with me when I was on good terms with them. But then I noticed some behaviors that, like, being obsessed can be kind of, it's a lot, and I couldn't handle it. Especially, like, I didn't want to be around that person anymore. And their obsession became like something good that I couldn't handle to something bad that I couldn't handle. And, like, overall, like, I think it was just that person's, like, how they applied their extra energy, because even when things were good, it was like off, like they were not fully good, if that makes sense. Like, maybe the context here is like, is the individual a healthy person? Is the individual a good person or a bad person? Because they may be, you know, they may be treating you well or maybe, like, good for you because you're on good terms with them, but what are they going to do when you're on bad terms with them? So just being mindful of placements such as that, like, what would happen if you were to not give them some of your energy, because having obsession or having this type of connection, the type of energy exchange is much more than normal. So whatever energy they're giving to you, it's a lot. And then the fact that you have to focus on that, that's energy that you're returning back to them, right? And so it's like, sometimes it could be just detrimental to have someone obsessed with you, period. That you guys, maybe the fixation should be on a third item or object or passion or situation that is mutual between you two rather than one person and another person. Maybe make it a hobby rather than a person because people are not perfect, and just, I don't know, like it's just so easy for people to take things personally when maybe it's not at all personal. You guys are flying. You guys are floating, leveling up, doing what it takes to work through stuff. And I am, you know, bowing to you guys for, like, if you guys are dealing with all this extreme extra energy and holding it together, be proud of yourself, because I totally am. It's hard. It's definitely hard. So, more messages for the collective then. We have the beginning reverse. Some obsessions aren't found out in the beginning. And I think why it's in reverse is some of you guys are just really, really deep in a connection and finding out some really... the Italian comes out when I say, like, I wanted to say, like, saucy. There's some saucy stuff happening, you know? The mini named. I think there's a lot of people who are involved in this. Some that are obvious, some that are not as obvious. There's like maybe a list of people that you can name. You're like, okay, these people are just, they're my following, or they check in on me a lot, or they, you know, like you just, some of you can name the people. The mini named is interesting because it's like, this looks like a club sandwich and there's a superhero, there's someone like flying, like that's so random. So I think back to how I said you guys were flying, I think that's just what this is about, is like, you're, rather than taking all the obsessive energy and focusing on it, you're taking it and flying it. You're flying with it. Like, you're like, okay, cool, I have extra energy, you guys are giving me extra energy. And maybe that's what you needed to transmute, is being used to having extra energy and figuring out what to place it on, what to do with it, you know, like not having it be a negative thing. Because, you know, like, there's celebrities with so many people who are obsessed, and that's like, it's kind of like promos and advertising, like, that people are just doing because they're receiving some sort of thing from paying attention to you, whether it's like good or bad for them, whatever. Like, if you're good, that's all you need to check in on, you know, like you need to just check in on if you're good. Don't be worrying about these other people and how they're interpreting you and this or that. King of Sides is like putting King of Sides, putting everything to the side, and you're like, I'm the king, or I'm the queen, like I'm royalty, I am deserving of this extra energy, and that's why I'm receiving it. But being the staple is like putting it all together, solidifying, strengthening, like in the good ways. I love that they're showing a grilled cheese. So, and they have an iron and a skillet and a canned, this is like canned, a river of canned soup. So maybe you guys like those foods. Maybe you're Italian. Okay. I'm getting earth signs too, but you don't have to be any specific zodiac for this reading to resonate. We have the refried. It's in reverse. So burnout. I'm getting some of you are burning out. I did talk about me being worried about burnout earlier, right? And so maybe that's just a lesson of like, when you become obsessed with something, you can burn out on it and then like go from liking it to hating it real fast. So that could be what happened between you and a person, or that could be just what happens with you and like things that you find yourself interested in. You're like, well, I was interested in that. Like, why did I stop? Maybe it's this like burnout that you paid so much attention to it that you got tired of it. Ace of Sides is like knowing when to put I'm getting, it's like knowing when to put something to the side. Like maybe you're not this King of Sides yet. This Ace of Sides is like now this reading is showing you like you need to know what to put to the side when it's like too much, right? Like definitely too much. The classic and the bagged one. So I'm getting like the bag from the bagged one. I'm just getting like you guys are gonna be getting your bag. Like you guys are, the way you'll do it is just going to I'm hearing like classic, like chef's kiss kind of energy here with just owning it, like owning, like you are the original you know, like you like what you like, and that's that, you know, and you're gonna get your bag out of doing what you like. And I love that. Like just be the OG. The Middle Eastern. So some of you may be Middle Eastern, okay, or Italian, like I said earlier, or earth signs. You could be a Gemini. The constant reverse. I'm getting like, you don't have to you don't have to, if you're into something, you absolutely do not have to be into it 24/7. If you guys are titling or labeling with obsession, and you know, are like looking to upkeep this reputation, maybe you have a social media and it's all about very specific things, whatever it is, okay, and you need to maintain your reputation, or like you just feel like if you stop, you're not going to be deemed as something anymore, right? Like this constant card being reversed is like a reminder, is you don't have to be one thing 24/7. The only thing you have to be 24/7 is you, and you can be happy, and then you can also be sad, you can also be mad, okay, you could be sporty or you could be lazy, you could be skinny or you could be fat, like just choose whatever it is, choose, but you don't have to choose that forever. It doesn't have to be you forever. You right now may not be the same you in 5 minutes, like you may not feel the same, or like like, you know, like just be mindful that you do not have to stay within any labels or stay within any limitations. Whatever you have been before, you don't have to continue being that. Or vice versa with somebody else. You know, like whatever someone was in the beginning, maybe they weren't ever that, or they aren't always that. And so holding this expectation for yourself and for other people is hard to maintain. Like this could be just someone's obsessed with how you feel, or how, you know, like you've always got to be, you know, good, and it's like you're not always good, okay? Like it's negative emotions are really difficult to deal with within ourselves, and then also now add in somebody else who also doesn't feel good. Is a recipe for disaster. And I think some of this is this with this obsession is, if someone's unhealthy, they have an obsession, their obsession can also be unhealthy, and then furthering the fact that they're unhealthy. Or someone could be unhealthy and their obsession is good for them, right? And it's making them less unhealthy. It's like helping them. Everyone is sort of, their contexts are going to, of course, like I said before, it's going to be different. And so I'm mentioning them all because they matter. I think it's very important to mention, try and be obsessed with role models, like people, like mentors. Be obsessed with yourself, and then see what it's like, you know, for someone else who's obsessed with you. See, like, you know, be so obsessed with yourself that like you're able to see how other people see you. I think that's a beautiful energy, is like finally coming into a place of how do other people see me? Like, how am I portraying my personality outwards, and how does that affect people? And like, how can I make that better? How can I do better? And if you're doing really well, it's going to be a very, very beautiful experience. Seeing yourself, how other people see you for the first time, or, you know, from now on. But if you're not really doing well, this is where healing is really going to kind of hit you on the head, and you're like, oh my God, I've been treating people like this. I've been acting like this. I've been behaving like this. I've been doing this. It's going to trigger an ego death, or like a spiritual awakening, or like these key terms of just giant shift in perspective, or giant shift in experiences and energies like that. So let's see now on this live shuffle for this deck. Okay, coming out in my lap is base chakra and clarity of belief. 1-1, so 11-11 could be significant for you. 1s, 4s, 21, 6. This card says lead, embrace, third eye chakra. Back of the deck says darkest fears. I'm giggling at myself because I'm like, why was I like sitting here and kind of letting the cards bask in my presence? And like, why was I quiet and not saying anything about the cards? But it's really, some of this is like speaking for itself. It's like base chakra, third eye chakra, using your intuition, using your intuitive downloads. Like I was saying earlier, as a tool. This spread beginning and ending with the chakras, I think it's just, yes, we need to work on our base chakra, but how are we going to do this, you know, how are we going to do it? It's our third eye chakra. Base chakra is all about connecting to earth, connecting to safety, connecting to home, connecting to being grounded, feeling secure. It could be financial security. It could just be feeling safe in general, okay? Because with having an obsession or someone being obsessed, how I was saying, it could be dangerous, right? Base chakra, we need to focus here. And we need to focus using our third eye chakra. How I was saying earlier, like, it is like receiving enough information to be like, okay, this person's good for me, this person's bad for me. Clarity of belief, lead, embrace, just take the lead in your story. Embrace your third eye, embrace your obsessions, whether it's your obsession with yourself, your obsession with the things that you're obsessed with, or someone else's obsession towards you, or your obsession towards somebody else. Whatever it is, okay, you are fully embracing them as what it is. Like, is this bringing me enjoyment? Is this hurting me? And sort of letting that lead into, do I continue to place myself here, or do I bring myself somewhere else? Because yeah, obsessions change. They can change. You could change your mind. You can change your personality, can change. What you used to be obsessed with may not be always, you know, like maybe that something about that thing changed and it turned you off from it. You're just really noticing, embracing your personality and how it applies to the things that you like and how much you like them, and how weighted that is. Like, if you just like something, maybe you just like it. But if you love it and you're always doing it, from an outward perspective, it's gonna look like an obsession. But maybe you just love to do it. Because perhaps obsession is this, like, I'm getting a little bit of like obsession could be like maybe stemming from not having enough of it. Like when it's new, you're like, oh my God, I've never experienced this before. Like I want, you know, like I needed more of this in my life. Like, so you soak it up. So it can come from a place of previous lacking, or just maybe a match made in heaven. Okay, like it could just be a variable reason for why the obsession exists. Okay, but just embrace it and be like, okay, it's a beautiful thing, until it's not, and the actions will lead it there or prevent it from getting there. So lead yourself to the positive contexts with it. Believe that obsessions are not a bad thing unless it becomes, or you know, unless it becomes one, unless you allow it to become one. Because being obsessed with something is like, it's beautiful to discover something and be like, wow, like I should have been doing this before, or I should have known about this person, or you know, whatever it is. Like, it's a beautiful energy when it begins. That's why we had the beginning in reverse. It's a beautiful energy when it begins, but it can burn out. It can extinguish really fast. And then what happens with fire is, like uncontrolled fire, is it just, everything gets set ablaze. Like it's just nothing gets left behind, essentially. And that's what happens. Like, that's why I was careful with my obsession with TikToks at my beginning with TikTok. Is if I do it too much, I'm going to hate it. And this card says precious time. Now we're in the pre-shuffles. Precious time. The fairy of time wants you to experience every moment fully and to make the most of your precious time. Be mindful not to waste others' time either. Embrace. I think that kind of goes back to, like, if someone's watching you, you might as well make it a good show, you know? That's kind of with the don't waste other people's time. But it's like, if you're gonna like have a good time and then like have so much of a good time that other people are having a good time. Moon energy. Surrender to the natural ebb and flow of life. If you're feeling confused, this fairy comes to calm emotions and reassure you that peace of mind is possible. This card says light. The fairy queen of light comes to shed love and light into your current situation and remind you that light can penetrate darkness. Lost and found. What was once lost is about to be found. Thanks to the lost and found fairy, sometimes she can help us find things we never even realized were lost. Obsessions, that could be just what I was trying to channel here with obsessions, is that maybe you are instantly obsessed with something because it's like, again, like that match made in heaven. Like, you are meant to find it. You're meant to find it and just be so into it that it may be deemed as an obsession. Or it could be this message is triggering you to remember an obsession you had in your inner child, like in your childhood. So inner child healing, reawakening that child within you. Manifestation. Be very honest and clear about what you wish to manifest in your life. Now write it down on paper. Manifestation, step 1. This says motivation. When spring approaches, the flower fairies urge you to spring into action. If there's something you've been merely thinking about doing, they say get busy and do it. So if you want something to manifest by spring, you have to have the motivation today. You need to have the motivation like now or yesterday or whenever it is, right? And it's like, this is sort of what I'm getting there is, if your heart space or your mind space has been telling you to do something, just do it. You know, like, don't, just don't talk yourself out of it. Because I'm looking at this 9 of Swords. I'm getting like some of you just think too much about your ideas instead of doing your ideas. And then you talk yourself out of it. So, you know, be careful doing that. Cave, sanctuary, dream time, creation, spring equinox, rebirth. Okay, so another spring we have synchronicities, we have like repeats coming because we have spring, we have the 8 of Pentacles that repeated earlier. We have like lots of ebb and flow again, fire, passion, blessings, celebration. You guys are going to be definitely, this is definitely, you guys are going to be celebrating in the aftermath, or even now, with like just being grateful of where you've been, where you're at now, where you will be. This card says Masquerade 15. Perchance to Dream, number 28. Envious Gluttony, 9. 23, Revenge. 19, Parasite. 31, Atonement. 27, Fragmentation. 29, Anger and Chains. 10, Colorless Angel. And 12, Artificial Heart. Masquerade. Big time I'm getting people wearing self masks, like pretending to be who they're not. You know, maybe they pretend to like you, but they really don't. Or they pretend they don't care, but they really do. Or pretend that they do care, but they kind of don't. Like, it's this energy of not everyone around you is as genuine as you. Most times what we see in other people is things that we are seeing in ourselves, that we have in ourselves. So just be careful if you're really genuine, that not everyone around you is as genuine as you. Fragmentation, it's like this energy of having a self mask is based off of broken energy, like people who are broken, people who need healing, and they are hiding their healing journey. They're not embracing their healing journey, and rather than embracing it, they're hiding it and pretending like everything is okay, and then everything's not actually okay, and then they're in the connection between you and the person, and like if things are not actually okay, pretending they are, then they're obsessed if you are actually okay and authentically fine, you know, like you're just living your life, being a human, being happy, or just be, you know, whatever it is. But they are struggling. Maybe that's that obliviousness of like they're obsessed with, why can't I get there? Like, why don't I have their perspective, or whatever. Anger and chains is like being stuck in dreaming and not living your dreams. Colorless Angel, Envious Gluttony is like you may be dealing with a dark empath, or like someone who uses magic or their tools for bad. They use their tool to try and replace you. They try and use like tactics to take you out. Like maybe they feel like it's a competition in this world, and it's like competition only exists in, I really feel like it's in grade school where competition exists, because it's this extreme motivation, I suppose. Because I've been channeling competition and inspiration. They're the same, except inspiration, there's a space for everybody, and competition, there's only one spot. But it's like with developing children in grade school, how can you motivate the entire class to do something? And it's saying, oh, there's only one prize, and like, you know, everybody works evenly, like everyone has the same task, so everyone can push themselves the hardest to test themselves to see if they are the best. But in the real world, you don't have to be the best. You only have to be you. I think that's where like competition can be misconstrued, because they emphasize, you know, competition is fun, and like, you know, it's all fun and games and things. But some people really take it seriously, and it's like, no, competition's not serious. Competition's like kind of a grade school thing. Competition's a child childish thing, but in a like underdeveloped kind of way. So rather, you know, so envious gluttony is like they want to replace you. They don't want you to exist because they want to be you. It's like this, like, you can't, like, if you're doing the thing, then I can't, kind of a thing. Like, or they, like, just because you're doing the thing, it really shows them that they aren't, or they, you know, like something like this with the colorless angel, envious gluttony. It could be somebody who just doesn't see the light and you do, or flip the roles. Artificial heart, revenge, parasite. It's like, yeah, a lot of this is explaining that. But we have atonement. It's like you guys are taking the daggers out of your back, and saying thanks for the weapon, you know, instead of keeping the daggers stuck in your back. And sure, if you have to take the dagger out and you're gonna bleed, and you have the possibility of bleeding out, you may have the possibility of endangering yourself to do it, but you cannot continue with the sword and with the swords in your back. You're gonna die anyway, but you at least have a chance if you take it out, but you also have an immediate death if you know, like, do with it. And I think that's the drawing back onto being on good terms versus bad terms with your obsessors or with the obsession. Make sure that if you're atoning, like kind of addressing the situation, that you take the daggers, heal, and then turn around and keep the daggers as like a part of your party, as part of your protection, as part of, it's like strength building. The experiences are all strength building. Sure, it did hit you, like maybe you were the target and it did actually hit you. Sure, okay, but then you learned how not to be a target anymore, or you learn how, you know, like, it's like this learning experience here. So now that I'm through all the live shuffles, I'm through with the pre-shuffles. You guys, this was the back of the deck earlier, Darkest Fears, and underneath it we had Blossom, and we have Choose Your Battles underneath it, and Heal. Okay, this is all underneath Darkest Fears. Believe and Succeed. You guys, this is awesome energy, and I'm gonna leave it here. You guys take care over this week and the weekend and the weeks coming forward. I look forward to connecting more. Thanks for joining Magic with Melly. Make sure to check out my TikTok videos because there's gonna be more, and I'm on Instagram actively, and I channel messages on Twitter. If you enjoy blogs, you know, you want to know maybe more about my personal life, I'm on Patreon, of course. Wherever we connect, I am thankful. And take care. Goodbye.